Be advised, you are coming in weak and unreadable.
Say again, Com Tower. This is Pacho. Do you read me over?
Pacho, this is Com Tower. I read you Lima Charlie.
Com Tower, Com Tower. Request permission to launch and commence the field op. Over.
Stand by. Pacho, permission granted. I say again, permission granted.
Roger that. Launching podcast in 3, 2. You are now entering the field op with your host, Pacho Correa, Chief Warrant Officer 3, United States Marine Corps retired. Get some. Hurrah! What's going on, everybody? Welcome to Interwebland, baby. Yep, it is Baby Friday is upon us. Last week I did my show on a Friday. Baby Friday is upon us. Friday night's Eve, but goddamn, it's almost the weekend. Hey, we got a really good show for you. I'd like to kind of talk a little bit about just some of the things that I've been kind of pondering on here at the house. Let me go ahead and move something out of the way. Hang on, everybody. Didn't want you to see the little hole puncher in the background anyway, so yeah, we got an amazing show coming to you live right here from good old Hollywood, Florida, in the house. Hey, this show is brought to you by the great, Primerica. So when was the last time that you that you looked at any of your products, how to protect your family and all that good stuff? Well, if it's been a while, with much of the time, we just get a stack of paper from the insurance company and we really don't know what to do with it because we'll never review it. You might want to let somebody like myself, who is licensed in this, should take a look at it, and that way, I'll let you know if it's something that is, that's properly, that you're adequately protected, and if it is, great. If it's not, then we may have some options for you that are very affordable, and even, and that could give you more protection to prevent, God forbid something happens, and there's a tragedy. At the end of the day, your family putting a link on Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, or whatever social media is out there that they're utilizing, asking for help on a GoFundMe or Venmo account, that's now relying on the good faith and hope of others to basically cover your funeral costs and whatever the case may be. That is not the way to properly protect your family. I mean, that is the reality of things that I deal with this type of stuff all the time. So also, this show is brought to you by the good folks of the VA. So when was the last time that you took, have you taken advantage of the PAC Act and all the, and basically getting your claims and getting 100% veterans claims? It's a lot of benefits of being 100%. You get free states, hunting licenses, fishing licenses. Some, depending on the state, you get a huge break on your home taxes. So it does make sense. So give somebody from the VA, if you need help being pointed in the right direction, give me a call. You can always shoot me a text message. You can get a hold of me not only from here on Facebook. You can also shoot me a message via our YouTube channel. We're also on Instagram, and on my personal Instagram or the show's Instagram, as well as we're on TikTok now. So at the field up. So go ahead and check it out. I'm coming into the whatever century we're on, so I'm posting a lot of good information out there. And at the end of the day, look, folks, what I'm trying to do through this channel is build a network, share information, answer questions on stuff that, while you were in the service or even now in regards to finances, among many other things, this will be your hub of information that you can ask. Hey, no pressure or commitment. Yeah, I may be able to help you with other things properly, put your investments and such together. But, what I share here, is free. Okay. And if you have a business or something that you want to talk about here in the show, please, by all means, hit me up. I don't want to be the only one talking here. I mean, although I can bump my gums for quite some time, I don't want to be the only one. I want you to, if you have a business, we can talk about it. How'd you get to it? We can also talk about your, when you were in the service, your experience and all that good stuff. We'll chew the fat for about half an hour and then go from there. I mean, at the end of the day, you get to pump up your business online and what I get out of it I get to hear your cool stories, and we'll laugh and BS for a little bit. So if that's something that interests you, hit me up. All right, put your comments on the show, or you can send me a direct message. Whatever tickles your fancy. All right. This show is also brought to you by, we're all promoting. One thing that I do advocate for as an immigrant and somebody who came here in his preteen years when I was 12 and a half years old in the 80s is that, look, this show would not be here had not been for the great things that, the freedoms that we get being, Americans. So, freedom of speech, freedom of the right to bear arms, all those things. I mean, this is an amazing nation, and we should all be proud of being here, regardless of what our voting preference, and many other things that this country tends to find lately so divided for. So be lucky of that. And because I feel lucky and blessed to be here and to be able to, talk to you and share my thoughts and feelings with you. So if you like what you hear, or if not, then it's still like and follow. I mean, shit, we respect that too. Like, subscribe, and follow. And if not, help out the folks at Sitchradio.com who helped me out for many years. Check out some of the shows. Aaron Siebert, Combat Vet Vision. That is a really good show, which I listen to as well, and I support. Brian has some amazing other shows, which that he has, long shows, short shows, you name it. That dude has got all kinds of cool stuff through Sitchradio.com. So by all means, check them out, and then go from there. But like, subscribe, and follow, and tell everybody about me. Okay. I know this really cool dude who's got an amazing accent, amazing flock of hair, and he talks about some cool, funny stuff every once in a while. So today's show is basically, I was saying, faith over fear. As I mentioned to you guys, when I used to get up around in the morning. It used to be 4 o'clock when I was with corporate America, but I gave myself an additional extra hour. So now I kind of get up at 5 in the morning. In all reality, around 04:30, that's usually when I'm up. My body just it's so accustomed to it after basically doing it for so long. When I was in the Marine Corps, that you're up at 0:30. That I'm just so accustomed to it that by that time I'm already up. So I get up I usually get up in the mornings. I do about 30 minutes of meditating, and that also includes my prayers. I gotta give my thanks to the good Lord and Savior. So I do that piece too. So it takes me about 30-40 minutes to get all that stuff going, and then once I do that, I pretty much put my green on green, ready to sing, and I really don't go hit the pavement. But I take the Pooch and PFC Taps, who is not even here today. He's probably out there playing with mom, because it's around this time he gets to eat his chow. So, but we'll go on a little hike. One, it's good for him, and it's good for him, and it's good for me at the same time. So, and during that time frame, I take advantage of. I think you've heard me say before. I every little white space or time frame that I have, and if whether I'm driving, walking, I'm walking him, or whatever the case may be, I try to fill in that time constructively. In another time frame, obviously it's much easier to just pop in, go on Spotify or Pandora, and just put in some music, which there's nothing wrong with that. However, as I try to fill in now that time more constructively, then I listen to either an audiobook, or I'm listening to some type of motivational speech. Guys like David Goggins. I mean, that dude is amazing. I mean, he gets real. He gets raw and real. So I like listening to him, and and Joe Dispenza, who I've talked about in the show a lot, quite a bit. And as I'm naming these guys, I mean, I'm giving hashtags and shout outs and stuff, but I don't get paid anything for that. But I'm a fan of them, and I listen to them. Les Brown is a really cool dude who lately I've been really, really into. Les Brown is he's a motivational speaker. Like, I used to be a DJ back in the day. He's as a matter of fact, he's a fellow South Floridian. He's from Miami. He was a DJ here back in the day, and and decided to become a motivational speaker. I mean, he's got an amazing, really amazing story. The dude was, unfortunately, his mom. He was born in right here in Liberty City, which now they call it Opalaca or Miami Gardens. They changed the name. So he came from very humble beginnings. His mom had it in an abandoned building. So I mean, the dude went from that, all against the odds, to having a vision of becoming a DJ and then a motivational speaker. I mean, how amazing is that? And despite not being not finishing high school, not having no, he did finish high school. He didn't have a college degree, doesn't have formal education, any other stuff, which he himself, that was kind of like that was his complex, so to speak, is that he's like, well, I don't have a high school, I don't have a college education, I don't have this, I don't have that. A lot of us kind of sometimes, we become fearful, and by the way, fear is, it doesn't exist. It's not a fear. It's man made, and I thought it was kind of cool when I was putting the show together. I was, I used Franklin, FDR's Franklin D. Roosevelt's, there's nothing to fear but fear itself. I mean, that he used that in his 1933 inaugural speech, and what an amazing, set of words is that, a lot of the times we're the ones who become paralyzed over fear. Can be so powerful that it can paralyze us. It can, it slows down time. I mean, when you're going through it, or it can keep us stuck somewhere from taking a risk or a chance or whatever, or become stagnant. And by no means am I putting myself, separating myself, because I'm here to tell you is that I too, over fear, uh, you know, comfort, whatever the case may be, I too have fallen into those traps every once in a while. And when I heard Les Brown talk about fear, taking risk, and all these things, I was like, shit, this is something important to talk about, because I did that. I did that you know, for quite some time without even realizing that, I am not wired to, the way I've always been that type of individual. And I think a lot of us who are service members, we're wired a little bit different. Why? Because we went through this some people call it I had a coworker, again, my previous job, corporate job, good dude. We used to, there was a lot of times him and I, we agreed and disagreed. So shout out to Big Mike right there at, Collins Aerospace right there in Miami. We agreed to this, but I became to respect this guy quite a lot. Very outspoken, but the guy was never one way or the other. He was always himself, very real, and I can appreciate that. And we agreed to disagree a lot of times on certain things, but we had that mutual respect for one another because he was always true and real. And so what I'm saying is that a lot of times, we become stagnant, or we become comfortable in that sense. And he used to say, well, you guys in the military, he never served. He goes, well, you guys in the military are indoctrinated and brainwashed. And I'm like, and I was like, well, yes and no. I mean, majority of us, we joined the service when we're right out of high school, so we're somewhat, I guess you could say, vulnerable, or we're still like in a toddler child mentality that we're still learning. So these drill instructors, drill sergeants, I don't know what other I know the Army drill sergeants. I don't know what the other armed services call them. Nonetheless, we have these folks, these guys and gals basically in their early 20s. They've been around a couple of years. I mean, now that I think back, I'm like, man, the difference between these guys and mine, it wasn't that much. Although it seems like it, but it really isn't. Anyways, we're still vulnerable, and we're still learning and absorbing that we're going to take whatever it is, this person in leadership, because we're, when you're going through the delayed entry program at whatever branch that you join, in your local town, you're taught the rank structure. So you respect, by default, you're giving the respect to this individual wearing that, that drill instructor, that, that cover, or that position. So we believe them, and hey, this is the military, this is the way, Mandalorian-ish, so to speak. And yeah, so I guess you could say we are somewhat indoctrinated because we learn how to talk a certain way, how to move, how to talk a certain way, how to do certain things, respect and so on and so forth. However, I will say this, that indoctrination period, and then you move on with the rest of your life. I mean, that sets us apart from our civilian counterparts. So we end up being whether you were a type B before, in other words, you weren't really outgoing, or whatever it is that. And again, I'm not. If you were kind of nerdy in high school, quiet, whatever, it breaks you out of your shell, and then it puts you, because at the end of the day, we're all the same. We all wear the same rank, the same uniform. Doesn't matter. So it makes us a little bit different than our counterparts. So we become risk takers in the sense that, hey, we're able to, we want to start our own business. We want to do these things. However, I think because I've experienced the civilian world uh, two times. I got out of the Marine Corps after my first enlistment, and then I went back in. It wasn't out of necessity. I truly miss my brothers and sisters. I miss being a friggin' Marine. Uh, and so I decided to go back in. I mean, so much so that I was a reservist in the meantime. And then I came back in active duty. I mean, I had to have liked this stuff because I even took a demotion as part of coming back in. So the point I'm trying to make is that, so I came back in. So I've experienced the private sector or getting out of the service twice. Um, and a lot of us are getting now. We're oh man, what am I gonna do? What am I gonna help protect my family? Especially those of you my fellow retirees, and even my first termers or second termers. Depending on your level of injury, you're gonna get the VA is gonna take care of you. Disclaimer: yes, the organ the VA is not perfect. I got it. However, if you have an injury and or this and many other things, you can put in a claim, go through the process, and by the time you exit out of the service, that claim will hit, and then you have some type of monies or a benefit coming to your pocket. Yes, it may not be 100, it may be, but you can always go back and reapply. There's plenty of organizations. So the point I'm trying to make is that whether you're getting out or you're being medically separated or being retired after XYZ years, you're in a different predicament, you're in a different position than the regular American. So we tend to forget. I say this because I too have I kind of fell in this pattern where, well, shit, uh, regardless of the situation, yes, I pay an ex-wife an ungodly amount of money a month, or yes, I have a wife, I have kids, I have these things. However, I think none of us here were wired to be failures. Even the person who was kicked out for doing marijuana or drugs, or the shitbirds of your unit that were kicked out, they're still a little bit different than their civilian counterparts in that sense that you went through that process, the vetting process of earning the title of being a soldier, in the Navy, in the Air Force, whatever the case. And by the way, shout out to my kid, Kauru Elliott, I just found out that he has been selected to Lieutenant Colonel. God damn. Proud that moment over here. So we're a blended family, and our oldest kid just made Lieutenant Colonel in the friggin' Space Force. That's some friggin' good motivating shit right there. Anyways, I just want to give a big shout out. I think Mom will be mad at me for saying this in the air, but I'll take it. I just had to share that moment. Listen, so I too have fallen I sold myself on something, and we become fearful of, oh, if I leave this job and blah blah, and they treat you horribly because now that I'm loose and free. Hey, look, my last job, it was fucking miserable. I mean, it was just I had a manager, and this lady just had it out for me. I'm not saying I was better, but I mean, I knew my stuff in the industry, and not that I wanted her job, because the last thing I wanted was being a manager once again. I mean, I just want to do myself and move on. So we become stuck and stagnant, and we're afraid to take a leap of faith, risk it, and become fearful in that sense. So when was the last time that you wanted to do something big or small? When was the last time that you took that you were feared made you stay somewhere because you were afraid? When was the last time? When was the last time that you wanted to open your own business, but you were afraid of, well, what if people don't use it, or what if people don't buy my product? What if we do all these what if, woulda, shoulda, coulda, that at the end of the day, oh well, I just take my shitty job and just suck it all up. And at the end of the day, we forget that, hey, dude, you gotta, again, I'm just talking to my fellow service members who are either retired or have taken advantage and get some type of stipend from the VA. Look, at the end of the day, you're gonna be okay. You can survive for a while you get that side gig going. Make that side gig a full time. If you want to try, lose weight, then that's fine too. You want to go back to the gym, you've been having issues or medically or whatever. There's everything, folks. Everything has a workaround. Absolutely everything. I know this because I too almost committed suicide. I too almost have seen my trials and tribulations. I too have been there. I too have gained a lot of weight, and I lost it. I gained some of it back, but I'm still working on that. But I'm just saying that everything has a workaround. I had I had complete knee surgery, and I'm to the point where I'm pretty much back and even better than I was than I was before. I mean, seriously. And so we make all these. I mean, at the end of the day, we gotta be able to call each other out, and that we make these excuses, and we ourselves become that dog that has been tied to that fence post for so many years, that to the point that once they cut the rope or the chain, that dog has been so conditioned at being tied to that post, or that certain length of that rope, that we don't even realize that, hey, we have these other things, and we can do this, and the rope is not really there, that we just stay behind that line because, oh, this is as far as the rope used to go. We do that a lot. I did that a lot. So you got to be able to take a risk, because fear at the end of the day will prevent us and will keep us stagnant and stuck for a lot of things. Whether you want to change your life, change your lifestyle, change your income, change yourself, become, we're constantly the thing that we don't realize is that we're constantly changing. The individual that's talking to you right now is not the same individual that was an hour ago. I mean, technically change has happened. I'm a different person than I was yesterday. I can attest to this. I am a different individual than I was last week when as soon as I cut the chains and the binds off, I am a different person. So you too can be that different individual, but how long are you just gonna prolong things and just be miserable? Be, if you're unhealthy because of whatever this is, how long are you gonna make excuses before you actually do something about it? Because a lot of us wait until something tragic happens, a heart attack, a close family member passes away, and something traumatic happens, or something so bad that pulls the rug from under our feet, or shakes our our inner spirit so much so that we're like, holy cow, I need to make a change. I need to change today, or we see somebody close to us, again, some tragedy happening, like, oh wow, I don't want to be like that, and from this day forth, ... or I'm gonna do this moving on forward. So how long are you gonna do that before you actually do anything? You know what I'm saying? I mean, think about that for a second. all the years of excuses, all the years of this, even it, you know, have you are you in a relationship where that's toxic, that's non-productive, and that you've been meaning to basically move on and or you know or basically set yourself free? How long are you gonna do that? You know, I somebody that's very near and dear to my heart. Uh, she was in this relation, in a very toxic relationship. Her husband used to beat the, used to use her as a punching bag. A very toxic situation. She was in it for many, many years, many, many years. And the one time that we were almost, myself and some really close friends of mine, we were able to do something about it and get this person out of that situation. This person was so conditioned, and they're here from Miami. This person was so conditioned to the situation that she was just afraid of basically struggling. And we all have, everybody has to struggle. Life is, it's a cruel, cruel teacher. But out of those cruel teaching moments, I guess you can say, you it's trial by fire, and then once you get through that fire, you can rise like a phoenix. Unfortunately for this person, again, I was very, very, I think I was towards the end of my first enlistment, and this individual, we got her out of that situation, and she was in a safe area, and we were gonna take her somewhere else, and she said, "You know what? I'd rather go back. I'll take the punches, but I just don't want to be broke." Yes, you can sit here and say, well, all kinds of negative comments and face, I guess if you want to exercise your freedom of speech, that's fine and dandy. However, a lot of people in abusive situations, they're so conditioned and so tied to that situation because of the control that the individual has over them that it's really hard for them to make a change. Well, it took almost something tragic for them to finally realize to actually move on. So the point I'm trying to make, folks, is that the more you make excuses, whether you're in a, you're trying to make a positive change, or open your own business, or if you're in a dangerous, toxic situation, God, don't wait until the last minute. Life will go by, this quickly, that when you realize, that train has gone by and you never got on, and then now you're 60, 70, 80 years old, and then pretty much on your way out. And what a lot of people, they did a survey, and they asked people as, pretty much they were and at the end of they're terminally ill, I believe was what the study was, and they asked them, "Hey, what was your regret? What was your biggest regret?" And quite often it was like, quite a of the people that they were surveying, they always had some type of regret that they didn't take a risk. It was something risk related, basically, that they didn't do X, Y, Z. They didn't make that step to move in that direction. So, are you going to be that individual? Are you going to allow fear get the best of you and never execute on that great, anime book idea? Are you going to be that one individual that is going to, instead of trying out some stand-up, for example, and never taking that step? Are you going to be that guy or gal? Are you going to be that person that, maybe you want to open up your own food truck, your own small food stand, whatever? Are you going to be that individual that is just going to let your life, go by and not do anything with it? That would be a shame. That would be a shame. And kind of going back to what I talked about in a different show is that when you're on your deathbed, as you're saying goodbye to your loved ones, we have, some people have this romantic view, but imagine if your hopes and dreams were standing all around your bed, and they were looking at you all upset and mad because basically, and then they will be right there kind of yelling at you saying, it's a shame that, we're all standing right here and nothing was ever done, because our lives are also going to end right here with you, because you never took that move. You never made that risk. Hell, if to my young guys, go talk to that pretty girl. Make that move. you're good looking, bro. I mean, it's all about confidence. I mean, don't downplay yourself. It confidence and that vibe, it comes out and it'll exude out of you like some really nice smelling cologne. That's what girls, that's what people like, not just, what I'm saying? So go talk to that individual, make that move. Ladies, you too, that one guy, whatever, go talk to that individual, say hello. Don't be, hey, how about we go grab some coffee? If they say no, then don't worry about it. Being told no, especially when we're younger, it's kind of devastating. But you know what? Trust me when I tell you, it doesn't really mean shit because it's like being a recruiter back in the day in the Marine Corps is, hey, do you want to be a Marine? No? Okay. Next. You want to be a Marine? Because after 100 no's, there may be a yes there. So it's okay. But don't be fearful. Don't bind yourself to that crappy job. Don't bind yourself to that toxic relationship, that marriage. Uh, don't bind yourself. Don't put those imaginary binds, on your life, because at the end of the day, when we're all sitting on our deathbed, you don't want to have any regrets, or you don't want to have that many. Shit, you know. So be, take that leap of faith. Don't. Again, there's nothing to fear but fear itself. And if fear is man-made, imagine be like that one little kid that when you were a small kid, who used to put the bathroom, your parents' bathroom towel around your neck. Be that little kid with that towel as a cape. Be that little badass. Be that little girl. Be that little girl who, would always wanted to have a pony. And I remember having a broomstick, and I wanted to have a little pony when I was a kid too. Shit, and that broomstick was that pony. I mean, or growing up, I'm dating myself, was the Lone Ranger. And I mean, we used to cut out a piece of rag and be that little kid with that rag around its eyes, and then was the Lone Ranger or Batman nowadays, or whatever that. But be that little kid. If when we were kids, we were fearless, we were relentless. I mean, we were great negotiators. If you don't believe me, if you have kids, how many times that little kid has broken you down? You're like, fine, I'll get you the damn ice cream. Be like that little kid back in the day, so that and then be like that with your life. We forget who we are after we turn teenagers, or even in our 20s. We forget that little badass kid that we used to be, and then we become some of these individuals that are just like, well, in shitty or stuck in dead end jobs. So your homework for this weekend, everybody, is to basically remember who that little kid was, and then say hello to that little kid. Say hello to that little kid again. Okay, that's that's my Tony Montana voice. But say hello and embrace that little kid, and bring some of that kid back, and then be that relentless, badass, amazing little person that it used to be way back when. Now, don't be that one little kid that used to be running around in his little underwear around the house and shit as a grown-ass person. That would just be weird, and it'll get you into a lot of trouble. But, but bring that back, and take care of you, and take care of this. And mainly, take care of this. All right, everybody. So with that being said, I'll just end with this. If you've been ruminating, going through a bad time, going through some, dark moments, just remember that those moments will pass. Getting through it, that's the challenge. Nonetheless, if you feel like you need to talk to somebody, please reach out to me. Reach out to the show. On this show bio, there's many different sources where you could find me on social media. Let me be that voice of reason, because at the end of the day, nobody here wants to do push-up, water, ice buckets, and all these other great challenges in the name of veteran suicide. It's not going to bring that person or you back. So let us at least be that voice. And if you haven't heard from your buddy, do a buddy check this weekend. Okay, so with that being said, everybody, thanks so much for tuning in. I'll put this stuff together. I'll throw it on YouTube and all the other venues that we have. So take care, everybody. Index, Ice the Mas, Dice the Key. I'm not going to. All right.